Good morning, everyone. Here we are, Wednesday Wisdom again. It's a little bit chilly, but not as bad as the last couple of days here in Sydney. So I'm not wearing four layers. So good morning. If you're watching on Facebook Live on Women of Light Facebook group, then we would love for you to comment and say hi that you're watching. If you're watching on YouTube, please comment in the chat and hit subscribe and the bell, and you'll get to see and hear everything that we put on. You'll get notifications. We're still just playing around with YouTube at the moment, so but we will get better. So, and we have the beautiful Sarita here, and I just realized, let me. So good morning and welcome to Sarita.
Thank you.
Lovely to have everybody. You here. So Sarita, you're going to be talking about being a miracle mum and work and being a parent at the same time, right? So tell us a little bit. I'm curious, like I sort of know, but tell us a little bit about being a miracle mum.
Sure. So I got dubbed Miracle Mum back in 2013 when I had my triplets. I gave birth to girl, boy, girl in 2013, as I said, 8 days apart. So, which is
wow,
yeah, which is very rare. So rare, in fact, that most of the hospital, well, majority of the hospital, they were born in Adelaide. They had no idea. Majority of Adelaide had no idea. Majority of Australia had no idea. Majority of the world had no idea. In fact, we actually broke a 19-year world record for triplets being born that long apart.
So they've got separate birthdays?
They do. So my
three?
So my eldest Yasmin was born on the 28th of February. So she's got not only a separate birth date, she's got a separate month, she's got a separate season. So she's just ended summer. And then the other two are born on the 8th of March. So completely different. 8 days later, and then there's 25 minutes between those two. So
wow.
So normally what happens, unfortunately, with triplets is if there's, so it's called an interval pregnancy medically. So when one is born and then the others are kept in, they don't actually survive. So I was very lucky to actually hold them in, and all three survive, and they are now 8 years old and healthy and kicking along.
And I'm assuming these days they're more likely to go, okay, let's do a Caesar, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
They're more likely just let's rip them out and, you know, So that's amazing. How special is that for your eldest to be a triplet but have a different birthday, right?
Look, special is comes with a very, very much an undertone when they're 8 years old.
When they're teenagers, they're going to enjoy that.
When it comes to presents and birthday parties and, so forth, it's like she gets her birthday present and the other two don't, and they want separate parties now, and it's the war has begun.
That's amazing. So just as a side note, I'm assuming, like, are you in a world record book?
I should be. Unfortunately,
you've got to go through that process, I'm assuming.
Exactly. So the lady that's actually in there, I think she's made it, I think it says 3 days or 2 days or something. But obviously that's not correct. So made it longer. And a lot of the HOMS mum, which is higher order multiples, which is what we're called. So if you have triplets or more, you're considered a HOMS parent. So a lot of the HOMS parents told me to apply, but it's just such red tape and such rigmarole to go through it. I just didn't bother.
When you're bringing up 3 kids, right?
Exactly
and
right.
like, yeah.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
So technically, yes, but you know, if you type in, and that goes for all the viewers, type in Miracle Triplets, type in triplets born 8 days apart. You'll come in with pages and pages. We still cover page 1 of Google, so
yeah, right.
it's still there.
Yeah,
and that's enough credit for me.
yeah, that's fantastic.
You know, they've started obviously with Google and internet these days. They search themselves up, you know, and they go, how, you know, our friends see how famous we are.
I was going to say the fame of it at 8 years old, right?
Absolutely. So they see their baby
amazing.
photos everywhere, and they know they're not going to get deleted. So if they never need baby photos, you know, the school asks them, bring baby photos in. And it's like, just Google us, miss. So they're quite chuffed about that.
Yeah. So any of our viewers, if you would like to check it out, go on Google. So,
absolutely.
Absolutely.
They're very chuffed. But like I said, the war is on between siblings. So, you know, I'm 8 days older, and of course, you know, comes with that, I can drink first and you still can't. I'm 18 before you, and so forth. That will all come. But
it's funny.
You know, yeah, absolutely. So that will all be a challenge, but you know, that's all the fun side of the siblings, but along with it comes all the parenting side, of course, as well, which is, you know, having triplets. It's like, geez, the challenges, and it's just incredible, absolutely incredible. We had to upgrade our vehicle because you just can't do with a 5-seater anymore. So Yasmin's the oldest one. So not only did we have three kids, but they were born micro-premi. So what that means is when a child is born premature, they're born before a certain date. So 40 weeks is normal pregnancy, of course. I don't even know what the premature term is, but micro-premi is when they're born extremely early. So Yasmin,
how old were they?
She was born at 26 weeks.
Wow.
So not only that, but she was actually born at home.
Okay.
So babies don't start breathing until 27 weeks. They can't breathe in utero. They don't know how to breathe on their own until 27 weeks. So she actually came out at home at 26 weeks.
Yeah.
So it was just me and her dad at home. And
can I just say, you've got no other kids either, right? Like
I have 2 older boys.
You had 2 older boys. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So they are now 20 and 24. So I think they were back then 14 and 17 by memory. Yeah. So they were from my first marriage. So they were actually at school at the time.
Wow.
Luckily. Yeah. Luckily. Very well. Yeah. But, you know, so I was home on my own just with her dad. So we had to call the ambulance, and they don't cater for micro-premies. They don't even cater for premies, because generally a premie born at home isn't meant to survive, you know, as bad as that sounds. But you don't have the capability medically for a child that young to survive in the traumatic experience environment and so forth, to actually be able to survive. But again, you know, we did it. So that's where all that miracle mum, miracle triplets terminology comes from.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then again we held the other 2 in for 8 days. So yes, I was in labour for 8 days, but not in pain as such.
So in hospital by this stage, I'm assuming?
I was straight into hospital. Yes. Again, lots of controversy between the doctors. You know, do we do the C-section, as you said before, and take the other 2 out? Do we leave them in? No one had heard of this before. It was a whole new,
They're looking
dilemma.
up all their medical journals, I'm assuming.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, 19 years, when you think about it, that's 2 decades.
Yeah.
That's like, beyond medical history for most of the medical staff there.
Yeah.
The ambulance officer that was actually taking me, so one ambulance was for Yasmin and one was for me. And the ambulance that I was going in, they actually said to me, thankfully, they said, just be prepared that you are going to get every Tom, Dick and Harry in that hospital when you get there. Yeah. Because when they make a call on the ambulance radio, every hospital can hear that. It's not just between the ambulance. So everyone knew that triplets were on their way, but only one had been born, not the other two. So within minutes, word had spread like fire.
Yeah, yeah.
By the time I got to hospital, there was no way that my stretcher could actually get through that room.
Yeah.
And
wow,
that
there was so many
was
people.
only 10 minutes away.
Yeah.
So they'd actually taken me to a hospital that didn't do deliveries, because they took me to the nearest hospital, not the hospital that I was meant to go to, like for my delivery.
Yeah.
And the stretcher couldn't even get through. It was that packed for everyone to see the show.
Oh, wow.
And
that's crazy. And the kids survived. Like this is, that's the part of it that's,
absolutely.
It's so amazing. Yeah,
absolutely. Wow. So, it was it was just so surreal. It was one of those situations where, it can't happen to me.
Yeah.
Absolutely surreal. And then, of course, began our big journey of 3.5 months in hospital, where it was just so touch and go. Are they going to survive? The the blood transfusions, the bradycardia, the touch and goes with, are they in NICU? Are they in SCBU? Are they going to make it today? Are they not? Thankfully, they didn't have surgeries. They didn't have heart surgeries. Like a lot of babies do go through a lot more trauma than ours did. So we were very, very lucky. Very, very lucky that we didn't have to. Yasmin was probably the only one. So because she was born at home in such unsterile environments, she had to breathe on her own for 4 minutes that it took the ambulance to get there. So she ended up with chronic lung disease. So she was on oxygen for 18 months. Yeah. And she ended up with brain bleeds. So a stroke, essentially, when she was born. So we don't know when she quite acquired that, if she was born with it or got that in those 4 minutes or what it was. Yeah. But, again, you wouldn't know it looking at them. So
I was just going to say, is there any ramifications of all of that now at 8 years old? Would you?
Yeah, look, I mean, so Yasmin again, so she's got developmental delays. So she's functioning academically. They're doing fine with a bit of support. So they're all in mainstream school. So she's doing great, academically with support, but socially she's behind her age group. Santaj, he's my middle pin. He is doing on par, but there's some social ramifications there as well. But Zareen, on the other hand, who's our youngest, she is about 2 years advanced her age.
Wow. Yeah.
So
you just can't pick it, right? It's like people, like children are going to come when they want to.
Absolutely.
And they're going to experience whatever they're experiencing, right?
That's right.
It's like
that's right.
To have
totally.
three separate experiences with the 3 births.
Totally.
Like that's amazing.
Totally. And that's what I tell all my clients, especially with, and this is where I say with parenting issues as well, the most common thing I get with parents is, I'm a terrible parent. My child has turned out so bad. And it's like, first of all, look at your children. You don't treat your children any different, deliberately especially. You know, you're not the only influence in your child's life.
Yeah, absolutely.
For my children especially, I held them in at exactly the same time. So in utero, they got exactly the same experience. Yet the way they came out in life was so different.
Yeah.
And their personality from birth was so different.
Yeah.
And you look at them now, they are just so different. You know, even just 8 years
different
later.
characters. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's, you know, there's only a smidgen of what us parents can do at the end of the day to form personalities of our children.
Yeah.
You know, we can support them. We can't influence them at the end of the day.
No, it's a big one, isn't it? Because somehow we, as mothers, especially, we have this thing that they're ours, and that you know how they turn out is a complete reflection on our own spiritual development, emotional, you know, intelligence, all of those things, and it's so untrue. It's just like this
stigma,
you know, collective stigma that that we've all sort of tapped into somehow, and maybe as a generational thing, I don't know, but yeah, it is pretty crazy, right?
Absolutely. And
To
it is
unwind all of that, unwind it all.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And that's what I teach my clients how to do. So it's not just a generational thing, it's a stereotype from society as well, because society deems that that's what we need to do. We need to, you know, how many memes do we see on Facebook going, I'll put my children first, you know, I'll die for my children. Well, what do our children do for us? You know, our children don't belong to us. We don't belong to our children. We need to walk with our children side by side. At the end of the day, we're all human.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, if we're dying for anyone else, there's something wrong. Because if we're dead, how are we looking after our children?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know,
it's that
we
whole,
need to look after ourselves so we can look after them.
Yeah. It's that whole thing, you know, when we were flying, you know, put your oxygen mask on first, and then you can help those around
That's right.
you know?
That's right.
Yeah,
exactly.
so
I mean,
true.
that's very well. You put your oxygen mask on your child, but then you're dead. What's your child going to do?
Yeah, how are they going to jump out the plane?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. It's just plain logic at the end of the day, which society goes, oh no, you don't need logic anymore. You just look at the Photoshop.
Well, you're a bad mother, right? You're
exactly
a bad
right.
mother if you
Absolutely. And isn't it funny how it always comes back to the mother?
Yeah.
The fathers are just the breadwinners who come home, have a beer, sit in front of the telly to watch footy, and that's their role.
Yeah. That is changing a little bit though. Like, you know, like the younger generation.
Your screen's frozen, Elizabeth.
Is it? It's not on my end. Hopefully it's not on the live. I have been having a bit of trouble with that. Is it still frozen?
Nope, you're back now.
Oh, awesome. But some of the younger generation men I'm noticing are really participating in their children's lives, and
absolutely, absolutely,
which is so good. But just getting on, I love your background says love your pain.
Yes.
Is that supporting? So you're working with parents on parenting. How is it that you support your clients? What is it that you do with people? So what I
do with my clients is help them to sync their consciousness with their subconscious. Okay. So inbred in us, what we've just been talking about is generations of negative feedback.
Yeah.
But deep inside, we know somewhere that recording is not right. Yeah. Something in that is just not right, which means we know what the truth is.
Yeah.
So our subconscious actually knows what the right thing to do is. So what I do is help get that subconscious out. So it's not me saying this is the truth. It's about helping my clients find their own truth.
Yeah.
and helping them work out what's their truth and owning that. And getting that back. So loving their pain. So first point of that is actually recognizing how you love something is recognizing and accepting it.
Yeah.
So if you accept something, that's when it's actually going to work.
I actually often say that, 80% of the healing is the acknowledgement of it, right?
Totally agree. Absolutely.
Once you have that realization, you acknowledge it, you accept it, and then you can move on. You consciously have these steps come up. Okay, this is the next one. This is the next one, right?
Exactly.
Is that being able to see it, and often you need someone, a coach, a mentor, or someone like that, to support you in seeing what you can't, because you can't see behind yourself, right? You can't see what's going on when you come in from your own space. So
exactly.
So Sarita, how can people get in contact with you? What is like do you run programs, or do you do one-on-one sessions with people? How do people get to work with you?
Yeah, so I do all of the above. So I do one-on-ones. I do Zoom consults, face-to-face consults. So I basically work with my clients with whatever's necessary. I also do take NDIS clients who are plan or self-managed.
Okay.
So
that's really good to know.
Yeah. So if they're, plan or self-managed, then that can come out of their funding as well. So that's really helpful as well, which is, as a therapist, then that can be covered. That's really necessary for a lot of people with parenting issues, because, a lot of, and it's not just parenting that I help with. When we're looking at pain, it's any sort of pain really, because, pain comes from fear. And that's where it's developed. So when we're looking at, our NDIS clients or our clients who have come from any sort of trauma, that puts out fear or PTSD, then it just, exacerbates a cycle of one trauma after the other, which in turn is going to affect our parenting at home.
Yeah.
So whatever we bring into the house is going to affect that. So the biggest thing is communication. And if we can't communicate at home, then how is that household going to function?
Yeah. And how are those kids going to, it's really looking at the communication in the household in general, right? Like the parents,
absolutely.
how they're communicating with each other. Yeah, the connection. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. So my website is loveyourpaincoaching.com. So you can find me on Google. As I said, my website is loveyourpaincoaching.com. I do have Facebook, holistic pain coaching, holistic pain relief coaching rather. So you can find me there, but I'll put all the links down below your
if you can put it in the comment, and on YouTube we'll actually add it in the description down the bottom of the
absolutely
as well.
Absolutely. So Elizabeth, I do have my second book coming out as well. So I've already released my first book, as you know, which is about chronic illnesses. So Love Your Pain, How I Found Myself After Chronic Illnesses. So I'm about to release my second book now, which is all about parenting issues. So how I became a miracle mum, and you can too. So teaching everybody else how to jump on the same bandwagon as well, because I became a miracle mum because I gave birth to triplets who were 8 days apart, but that doesn't mean everybody else has to as well. The other thing that made me a miracle mum was the support of their father at the time. So I really couldn't have done that at home, on my own. Once we got home, it was the co-parenting that did it. Especially with triplets, it's like everyone goes, "Oh, you're so lucky. Get them over and done with it." It's like, hell no.
I can't imagine. I mean,
would not
twins
wish
is one
triplets.
thing, right? You've got two breasts, so you know, like you
Exactly
can maybe manage
right.
twins, but triplets, like you
What
got
do you
two
do
going.
with the third?
Yeah, that's
You know,
right.
you've always got one out.
Yeah, and if
You
one's
do.
crying, they're all crying. I actually
That's right.
used to run with a beautiful woman up in Far North Queensland, Debbie Savage. If you're watching, Debbie, mwah, to you. We actually started the first infant massage instructing business up in Cairns in Far North Queensland, and we used to teach women how to massage their babies.
Yes.
And so at one stage we had 20 women in a group, and I got to tell you, when one baby starts, that's it.
They
right?
set everyone off, don't they? Absolutely.
So, yeah, we had a baby doll. I've still got my doll, actually.
Yes.
I'm just looking at her, and you know, that's how I would teach. But I would actually have to physically put up my doll and pat her and say, oh, it's cuddle break, because all these parents would be too scared. Oh, what are we doing? What do we do?
Yeah.
Because, they're following in my direction. So I'd have to go, it's okay. You can pick up your baby and console
Absolutely,
the baby.
calm them down. That's right.
That's right. Because, it's challenging when you've got so many. I just can't even imagine having three. So
yeah,
have the support of your husband, I can imagine, was just priceless.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're divorced now, and he actually, so the kids live with him because I've got disabilities. So I'm legally blind, I can't drive. And so I'm actually in an NDIS house, so I can't have the kids with me all the time. So they live with him. And again, as I was saying, the stigma is always on the mother being a bad parent and so forth. And here's a father doing his absolute best to actually support his kids and so forth.
And his wife, right? Regardless of whether, whether you guys have separated or not.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
at the end of the day. Exactly. And we're still on the phone every day. We still co-parent. At the end of the day, and this is my take home for all the parents out there.
At the end of the day, give us some wisdom, because I always forget to ask women at the end of.
No,
so what's your wisdom to share?
It's all about communicating with the other parent.
Yeah.
It is seriously all about communicating with the other parent. So, like I said right at the start, I've got 2 older boys from my first marriage, and literally I have a restraining order for life against him.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
He's in another state. I still have a restraining order against him.
Yeah.
When those 2 boys were growing up, they literally saw Colin, which is my triplets' dad, as their role model.
Yeah.
They wanted to be like Colin when they grew up, not like their own father, because they knew the difference between a good man and not so nice a person.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Colin and I sort of went, well, this is not how we're raising our kids.
Mm-hmm.
And when our marriage fell apart, it fell apart amicably.
Yeah.
We just, it was one of those things that happened. It wasn't anything drastic. We were still, good friends. We still are good friends. We've been, separated for many years now, and now divorced. But I see the kids almost every day. We have sleepovers, all that sort of stuff. We've been away together, all that, But like I said, communication is the key.
Absolutely.
You may not be married to each other anymore. You may not be together anymore. Even if you are together, you may be arguing or in a tough spot with each other, having a rough day with each other. It's not the kid's fault.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? You're still parents.
So we go to we come out of school, we go to school to learn how to read, write, and to educate our brain, our mind. We come out of school, we go to university potentially, or we learn a new skill, and then when we want to learn something, we go and look it up or do a course. So many people, some reason adverse to parenting, coaching, or to learning how to be parents, because we're not taught that. And
that's right. We don't come with a manual.
Able to do it.
Absolutely.
In today's day and age, it's ridiculous. So thank you so much, Sarita, for coming on and sharing all your wisdom. That's so amazing. I actually knew that you had 3 triplets, but I didn't know the whole story. So that was
that's fine.
That was
so just one last line.
Yes, go for it.
You might stop being a couple, but you never stop being a family.
Yes. Yeah, that's so true, right? Yeah, absolutely. So good. Sarita, if you can put your details down.
Absolutely.
And so if anyone wants to work with you, can they get in contact with you through your website?
Totally. So I've got contact details, contact forms on my website. So just throw those on. I've also got booking options on my Facebook page. So awesome. You can go through there. So many ways through all those links that we'll throw through under your links.
Awesome. Excellent.
Great.
Thank you so much. Take care, Sarita, and lovely to have you on.
Likewise. Thank you.
See you. Bye.
Have a great day, everyone. Thank you.